بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. This is Hadith number 57. Alright, Ya Shabab. Ya Shabab. Brothers, come. This is Hadith number 57 in the chapter of truthfulness in the book of Riyadh us-Saliheen by Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah. عن أبي ثابت وقيل أبي سعيد وقيل أبي الوليد سهل بن حنيف وهو بدري رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من سأل الله تعالى الشهادة بصدق بلغه الله منازل الشهداء وإن مات على فراشه. اللهم ارزقنا شهادة في سبيلك. رواه مسلم. Abu Thabit, Sahl ibn Hunayf, who was a Badri Sahabi, meaning he was a Sahabi who participated in the battle of Badr. These are Sahaba who have a special rank with Allah. That it may be that Allah looked at them and say, do whatever after today and nothing will harm you. Meaning you will go to Jannah no matter what. And so the 313 that participated were, you could say, in a way they were guaranteed Jannah. So Sahl ibn Hunayf was one of them. So he's narrating this hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ is saying, he who asks Allah for shahada, for martyrdom, Allah will raise him to the high status of the martyrs, even if he dies on his bed. He who asks Allah for martyrdom, but they left out a very key word in the translation. He who asks Allah for martyrdom in truthfulness, meaning with ikhlas, with really, he's true to that, Allah will raise him to the high status of the martyrs even if he dies on his bed. Now this comes under the chapter of truthfulness. Over here the Prophet ﷺ is saying that if you ask Allah, for example, Allahumma rzuqni shahadatan fi sabilik. Oh Allah, grant me the shahada in your path. And you are sincere in this, meaning you are true to that, Allah will give you the status of a shaheed even if you die on your bed. Who were these people in the history of Islam that used to ask the Prophet, that used to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shahada? Khalid ibn Walid, when he was dying on his bed, not in the battlefield. And he was crying. And he said, there is not a space on my body equal to the space of 4 fingers. There's no space, meaning almost every place on my body is either struck by a dagger, sliced by a sword, pierced by a spear, or by an arrow. Meaning he fought in the battlefield, opening up countries in order for them to spread Islam, to protect Islam from external threats, that he was given the title of being the sword of Allah. And one of the hikmah that the scholars they mentioned, that he did not die in the path, is because that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want the kuffar to say that the sword of Allah was broken in the battlefield. So no matter how much he tried to put himself in harm's way in the middle of the fighting, yet he could not get killed. But he will be, insha'Allah, from amongst the people as if he's a martyr. Who else? Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar radiallahu anhu, he used to ask Allah, "Oh Allah, give me shahada in your path." And the Sahaba, they used to hear this and they said, "Oh Amirul Mu'mineen, how can you be shaheed in Medina when there's no fighting taking place in Medina, and we will not allow you to go outside of Medina to participate in any of the ghazawat, in any of the battles?" But he was true with Allah. And Allah gave him shahada in Medina. And likewise with Uthman radiallahu anhu. And likewise with Ali radiallahu anhu. And so many of the Sahaba. Even up until now, if you are true to serving the deen of Allah, you will see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept you and put your qabul, your acceptance into the hearts of people. And we have a very modern day example, such as a Sheikh Yusuf, Dr. Yusuf al-Qaradawi rahimahullah. Rahmatan wasi'ah. He was someone who spent 100 years, Hijri years, corresponding to 96 years of the solar calendar, 100 years of the lunar Hijri calendar, in the service of Islam, seeking knowledge at the age of 10, all the way until he got his doctorate at the age of 50. And being in the front line when it comes to politics and guiding the Muslims throughout the world, when it comes to jurisprudence, when it comes to other challenges facing even the Muslim minority living in the West. He didn't confine himself to just the Muslims in the East, just in Egypt or in the Middle East, but he expanded his wings and his influence to the point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed his acceptance and his love in the hearts of ordinary people living in the West. And you see many organizations, especially financial organizations, especially zakat organizations, drawing from the benefits that he has written about pertaining to some Islamic transactions and zakat policies and so on. We could say, and Allah, He knows the best, and Allah, He is someone who will take all of us to account. Allahu hasibuhu. That He is someone who was true to what he believed in, and that was the service of Islam and the Muslims. He gave his country up for that. He couldn't go back to his country because of some of the statements that he made in defense of Islam and the Muslims. Unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now he passed away. All of the worries, all of the problems that comes with all of, being banished or exiled or on the wanted list, and all of this has gone away with him. And the perpetrators and the tormentors and the aggressors, they're here waiting for their turn to go. Both of them will be placed in the grave. How do you think the angels will receive him, and how do you think the angels will receive those that transgressed against him? It is very, very sad. When I heard the news, subhanAllah, we lost a giant in this ummah, that it is very difficult for this ummah to replace again the likes of him. Someone who has served Islam for 100 years. How much did you serve Islam? How long were you true to the religion of Islam? For how long? How long have you been praying? How long have you been practicing? How long have you been reading the Quran? How long have you been truthful with Allah? And then you have the audacity to talk about these scholars and what they've done and what they've said from the masail of fiqh, which the scholars of the past, from the beginning of the time of the Sahaba up until now, they've all differed. And they've all had their differences of opinion. and so did he, and so I'm going to say things that doesn't sit well with you, but that's okay. Because as a student of knowledge, as a scholar, if I use my energy and my resources to arrive at a correct conclusion, even if I am wrong, I will still have one reward with Allah. But who is going to know if I am wrong? We can only find this out on the Day of Judgment. And so this is an encouragement for us all to be seekers of knowledge, but not only seekers of knowledge, seekers of the truth, meaning every day we are striving, trying to come with the correct conclusion. The correct conclusion is ultimately with Allah, and He will inform us. But He has given us an incentive that don't worry. Don't fear the blame of the blamers and the talk of these gossipers and these haters. You continue on. And he continued on. He was being attacked from the scholars, from the students, from governments, from the West, from everyone. You could say from the Muslims and the non-Muslims. But when you are true to Allah, now if you are fake, what's going to happen? You're going to break. Because this knowledge is heavy and it requires a heavy vessel to be contained within it. If you're fake, this knowledge is so heavy when it's placed in this fake, Chinese-made, with all due respect to China, Chinese-made vessel, it's going to break. But when this vessel is founded on solid grounds, you put anything in there, it's able to contain it. And so you see scholars, the minute they get a little bit of they run away. And they give in. And they fear a little bit of a backlash. They give in, and they now give in to the desires and the wishes of the people. Hey, you have to say this. Yes, I will say it. Except for those who are al-ulama al-rabbaniyun, the scholars who are godly individuals, godly scholars, people who have a strong foundation, and they are always helped by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive Sheikh Dr. Yusuf al-Qaradawi, along with all of the scholars, all over the world, from the beginning of time up until the Day of Judgment, up until our time. May Allah forgive them, have mercy upon them. Truly, it is a huge loss for the ummah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that the knowledge is not taken away from this dunya, but it is taken away in the form of the death of the scholars. So when the scholars, they die, this is how knowledge is taken away. So there is certain knowledge that has been taken away by him, which could not be grasped by the current people nowadays who are alive. Even though he shared it, even though he taught it, it couldn't be grasped. So whatever he taught, even if 99.9% was grasped, 0.1% was lost. And then you could imagine year after year, if 0.1 is lost, a time will come when there's only ignorance prevailing in this world, and then people will have ignorant people leading them in matters of the religion, and they will say this is haram, but that is actually halal, and that is halal, but it's actually haram, and they are astray, and they will lead others astray. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never allow us to see such a time. May Allah always keep us on the straight path and allow us to be the torch bearers of Islam and be the means of guidance for the rest of humanity until the Day of Judgment. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.